Hello, diehard diecasters. Welcome to my channel. Recently I restored a 1963 Corgi Corvette. This was my first attempt restoring a toy car. After watching many YouTube films about this subject, I was convinced I could do that too. I have over 40 years experience restoring antiques, and I have done 5 full-size American cars in the 1980s. Having a professional workshop, I did not see any reason why restoring a toy car would be difficult. After I finished the project, I was very satisfied, but gained a lot of respect for you guys out there with tons of films, making it look so easy. It was a lot of fun, but there was a little more to it than I originally expected. With the word little, I mean more. I mean to say little. These cars are very little, and my hands are triple XL. A little later in this clip I will come back to that, and I like to explain what that means. Being this my first film, I was really surprised by the number of watchers, and I was surprised by the number of feedback I received, of which most was very kind. I also enjoyed the involvement, and I appreciate the critics that pointed out some serious issues with my work. But first I like to explain my motivation for the color scheme. Black on black, which for some sinister reason is my favorite scheme, was in my mind from the beginning of this project. Pictures of a beautiful 1963 split window black on black for sale in the UK pushed me over the edge. Now, some of you guys suggested the red interior on black, and therefore I quickly show you my project from 1985 on my 10-year-old 1975 Pontiac Grand Am, which by the way is a story in itself. This probably answers some of the questions that you guys put in the comments below, and I am happy that I made that choice, and I think it looks gorgeous, but the real one is absolutely fabulous. I also received some comments on the work itself. The white lines on the tires look shabby, the chrome is a bit dull, and the chrome window trims are painted too thick. Well, thank you guys for that, because this set a sequence of issues in motion. Keep watching. Before I looked at the car, I had to agree that the detailing lacked proportions. What looked good first started to irritate myself, so I decided to redo the tires and varnish them to prevent the white line breaking up when I replaced them or put them back. Following that, I added some character to the interior. I even made a little shift stick. A fairly useless exercise, but at least I know now it has one. I also repainted the chrome bumper frame and added some minor details. And meanwhile I became also aware that the car had some blemishes which I hoped would polish out. But first I was gonna touch up the window trims by adding some black lines on the edges. The result was acceptable, and now I only needed to polish the car for a final glossy finish. With the tiny Corgi in my oversized hands, I gently polished the car with a very fine car polish. Then, ready to receive applause for my fantastic job, I buffed up the car lacquer, and to my horror I noticed I polished off the clear coat. Not hampered by too much experience and not short of optimism, I decided to clean the car and add a fresh clear coat. Having learned from the little setback, I went for 4 coats of high gloss clear. Smart thinking, eh? In the paint cabin, all looked splendid. I took my time between layers. I am not impatient after all. And when finished, I let the car dry for 24 hours with my 500 watts lamp on to harden the coat. The next day, I couldn't wait to get to the shiny body and assemble the car for a spectacular video showing the resurrected and improved result. What I found was a car that looked like it was slimed by an epoxy resin spitting monster. Thick layers had hidden all the details and all looked crap. No details visible anymore, but yes, it did shine. No, I was not angry, but it took me 2 hours to find the car back behind one of my storage cabinets in my workshop. At least that released some tension, and I had a real reason to start all over again. Yes, I had to strip all off and sand and polish the body back to bare metal. Its flight through my workshop caused some minor damage which was easily to correct. I redid the primer, I added fresh layers of matte black paint, but I will spare you the long footage of the process. You can always watch that in my first video. So back to square one. The black looked good, and I was about to repaint the window trims and the rear emblem. I knew that was going to be a struggle again. Super small brush or a fine felt tip paint pen, I knew I was going to screw up again. So that night, after a few Belgian brewskis, I got a new idea. Why not use a small pen knife and carefully scrape away some black paint from the articulated and raised details around the windows. Braved by some more Belgian gold, I started scraping away the black paint. The thought was two-sided. If it fails, I can always start again. I'm very experienced in that part of the job by now. But if it works, I only have to protect the bare metal details when applying the clear coat. After almost 2 hours of carefully scraping and using my magnifying glasses, I finally reached the result that was a serious improvement to the very first and definitely a good end result. So now I only needed to do some minor detailing: silver, red, rear lights, silver and orange indicators on the front, and some red, white and black in the rear emblem. So, car back in the paint cabin, fresh clear coat, 2 layers only this time. So the last thing I did was the final polish of the glass plastic windows, as I had forgotten to deal with that in attempt number 1. Today I inspected the result and holy moly, what an improvement. Day and night difference with the first try. Number 1 was almost embarrassing compared to this. Super smooth and much more proportioned. I am absolutely happy that I had to do this all over again. I am not gonna say that it is perfect, but the improvement is really nice. And just thinking about the fact that over a couple of weeks I have to polish this car, which I will do very carefully, the shine will even be better, but this is already looking like a new car. Now I just need to teach myself how to film a car without the reflections. It looks like dings, but these are pure light spots. Any hints from you guys? I'm using a light tint. I hope you guys agree with me, and I now look forward to getting some hints if there is more I can do to make this look better. You see, I am not afraid to take it all back to step one again, and I am now ready for my next project, which I will kind of explain in a minute. My next project will be another of my toys, but in a lesser condition. It's a race car, so they suffer in the hands of any young boy. And yes, it's a 1960s Porsche Carrera 6 by Corgi Toys. I have a special plan for this one, also motivated by a similar full-size for sale on the internet. I already have a donor for the rear window, but unfortunately that is originally blue and doesn't match the idea that I have for the new plan. So I'm waiting for another one from the US, but I may start the project before that one arrives. Meanwhile, thank you guys so much for watching, and please keep sending me advice. This is so much fun. I hope to see you back for my next video, and we'll see what that will bring.